we're going to talk about the above ground pond in the growing dome. What is it? How does it work? And what are the best practices to maintain it? Let's start with the purpose of the pond and what it's made of. So the pond in the growing dome is made up of sheet metal and it's above ground. And this is for a very important reason. The pond acts as the main source of thermal mass within the space. This pond is one of the things that makes the growing dome stand out compared to other greenhouse designs because we are one of the few companies that include thermal mass by design. The pond is again made up of sheet metal that's painted a darker color, which absorbs the heat of the sun during the day. At night, when temperatures begin to drop, that heat is released back into the greenhouse to help stabilize the temperatures and avoid swings. Now, this pond is especially helpful in the winter months because, again, it does stabilize the temperatures and minimizes the need for supplemental heating. It does not eliminate the need for supplemental heating entirely in certain circumstances, like if you live in an extremely cold climate or if you live in an area that receives consecutive cloudy days. However, the pond does limit the amount of heat that you will have to add into the system. Now, do you have to have a pond? Can you swap it out for a hot tub? Can you take the pond out entirely? Technically, yes. You can customize the greenhouse however you desire, but you do need to realize that by removing the pond, you will be removing the thermal mass from the space, and it will no longer function as a passive solar year-round greenhouse. The growing dome pond is not just decorative. It is an integral part of the climate system, and that's why if you remove it, you do void the warranty. Now let's talk about the water source. Each water source is going to have its own set of considerations. City water may contain fluoride, chlorine, or chloramines. This will need to off-gas before you introduce anything into the system. Well water may contain excess mineral deposits, such as calcium, iron, or others. So it is best to test your water regardless of the source so that you know exactly what's in it and what may need to be adjusted. You will need to top off your pond, especially if you're watering from it regularly. So do so in incremental levels. So let your pond go down 2 to 3 inches and then refill it. That way we avoid shocking the system with large water changes. Do I have to put fish or plants in my above ground pond? Nope. You can use the pond simply as a source of thermal mass if that's what you desire. But you will still want to keep the water moving, so utilize the water feature that comes with your growing dome kit. This will avoid stagnant water and help prevent mosquitoes. You will also still want your surface to be covered. This will help reduce the amount of algae growth. So here you can see we've used faux lily pads, we've seen people use shade cloth, lattice, anything that will limit the amount of sunlight that reaches the surface of the water. If you do want to add fish and plants into your pond, we do recommend aiming for 60 to 80% surface coverage of the water with aquatic plants. That can be in floating planters like we have here, or with free-floating aquatic plants. This provides shade to the pond, limits the amount of algae growth, and creates an overall healthier environment for the fish. Fish will produce waste that will then in turn feed these plants, and it does end up creating its own ecosystem. Many of our customers choose to water their vegetable gardens with the water out of the pond so that their tomatoes can get access to those same nutrients. If you plan on doing so, be very cautious about adding anything into your pond, such as treatments, conditioners, clarifiers, dyes, anything of that sort, because even though something is marketed as fish safe, does not necessarily mean it is to water vegetables with and then eat later. When it comes to fish, most people opt for goldfish. They're hardy, can tolerate a wide range of temperatures, and are relatively easy to care for. That being said, fish can still get stressed, sick, or injured. One of the ways to avoid this from the get-go is to allow them to acclimate before we introduce them into the pond ecosystem. This is most often done by floating the bag that the fish come in the pond so that the temperature of the water can regulate. By adding the fish to water that's too cold or too hot than what they're used to, you can send the fish into shock. If you don't have a bag or you're not wanting to do that method, you can place the fish in a bucket and slowly introduce pond water before dumping the entire bucket back into the pond system. It is good to have a few basic supplies on hand, such as a 5-gallon bucket, a fish net, and an aerator. These will come in handy if you ever need to isolate a fish, temporarily move a fish, or deal with an issue with your pond. They are just goldfish, but you will form a relationship with them. And being prepared is part of being a responsible fish parent. If you do have that aerator on hand, you may want to just go ahead and put it in your pond. Warmer water contains less dissolved oxygen than cold water does. So you might find this helpful, especially in the summer months, and your fish may benefit from having that extra aeration. That being said, you don't have to do that. This pond does not have an aerator in it, and it does just fine throughout the seasons. So it really is personal preference. There are a few other fish basics that we'll touch on. Number one is try not to overfeed your fish. Overfeeding can be just as detrimental as underfeeding and can lead to a number of issues for your fish. It can also lead to issues with the pond. The excess food doesn't just disappear. So what you want to do is feed your fish, let them eat whatever they can eat in 5 minutes, and go ahead and remove the excess. That way you're not contributing to excess muck or potential algae blooms. Along those same lines, try not to overpopulate your pond. It's very easy to go and buy a whole bunch of fish and introduce them to the pond because they're small and cute. But they do get bigger, and believe me, your fish will make more fish. The root systems and debris that will naturally form within your pond does create a nice little hiding spot for those eggs and small fry to develop. But if you do want to see them through to maturity, you may want to go ahead and use that 5-gallon bucket and scoop some of them out and place them in there. Because here's the thing about fish is that they do the population control on their own for the most part. So if you don't want all your baby fish to disappear, you may want to put some of them aside. Now let's talk about new pond expectations. A new pond is not going to be perfectly balanced right off the bat. It will need time to acclimate. You may notice cloudiness or algae, and that's totally normal. It's part of the process. It's important to remember that this is not just a decorative water feature. This is a living system, and there are going to be ebbs and flows throughout the process of establishing it. We might as well address the elephant in the room, algae. Some algae in a pond ecosystem is totally normal and to be expected. Surface algae, algae that forms on the pond walls, that stuff is fine. String algae, we do not like. That can cause a number of problems. It can clog up your filters and all kinds of stuff. So we do want to make sure we get rid of that. To do so, a designated toilet brush is one of the most helpful tools to have. Simply stick it in the water, twirl it around, pull it out. You can dispose of it, compost it, do whatever you wish with that. We do utilize a barley extract treatment to help prevent algae from starting to begin with, but this is best as a preventative treatment, so if you do already have an algae bloom, you may want to take other measures. We have also started experimenting with pond dye, and this has helped us reduce the amount of algae by limiting the amount of sunlight that can penetrate the water. However, we choose not to water out of the ponds that we use that dye in because of what I mentioned earlier. It's safe for fish, but it's not necessarily something that we want to eat. So here we have a pond that has a lighter colored pond liner. This way you could see the dye that I was talking about, and you could also see the muck that's on the bottom. This pond liner is light gray. The one that comes with your growing dome will be a darker, almost black color. So you won't necessarily see this, but I do want to mention it. So there's muck on the bottom of the pond. That is to be expected. It's part of a natural pond ecosystem. There's beneficial bacteria in there that actually help to control the entire environment. And one of the reasons that you don't want to necessarily over-sterilize or over-clean your pond. You can try to scoop some of this out, but just know that it will likely cloud up the water, that will eventually settle back to the bottom, and you will still have muck on the bottom of your pond. If you're looking for more of an aquarium-style pond, you can achieve that. Most oftentimes people will do so by adding UV filtration or other biological filters into the system. So they'll use the water feature, but they'll add extra filtration. If you're just aiming for a thermal mass that provides a healthy part of your greenhouse ecosystem, perfection is not necessary, and something that's simple like this works totally fine. Here's a quick what not to do checklist. Avoid major water changes, especially if you have fish. Don't overfeed your fish, and try not to overpopulate your pond from the get-go. Understand that your pond is not going to look like a pool. And understand that if you're going to remove the pond from the growing dome, it changes the way that the growing dome functions. If you're setting up your pond for the first time, here's some questions you might want to ask yourself. Do I know where my water is coming from and what's in it? Do I want fish, plants, both, or neither? Do I want to water my garden from my pond? Do I want my pond to be more of a natural ecosystem or more aquarium style? Basically, what are my expectations for what I want this pond to look like? The above-ground pond is one of the most important aspects of the growing dome. It provides thermal mass, helps regulate temperatures, and can create a beautiful ecosystem within your greenhouse. Whether you keep it simple or create a full, thriving pond of fish and plants, the key is to understand how it works and to set realistic expectations. It's not meant to be perfect. It's meant to be functional, beautiful, and alive. If you're setting up your growing dome pond for the first time, or if you have a pond and still have questions, we're happy to help you walk through the process. We can help you make the most of your greenhouse's thermal mass system.